by
that
millimeters.
Much?
Yeah, but missed me by millimeters.
That's on.
Well, there we go. Looks like we're alive. Missed me that close. Yeah. So that was a little freaky. So anyway, back to a Packfiller Cycling Podcast.
Oh yeah.
It took us a long time to get to there because we've had live problems. I'm explaining this to the people who are listening later and wondering why there might be an edit on a podcast I say that's actually not edited. Hypocrisy. Before we get to the tour and topic, we need to take a short moment and congratulate Jackson on his marriage to his now wife, Maria Sawinski-Bulger. Yeah, right?
Yep, absolutely.
I have an applause.
And I think we should toast.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And I have
toast.
a beer that he gave me for right here.
Heroic action. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you're drinking his beer.
But he knows you well.
That was the wrong music, but it still gave the theme.
I got the goat beer.
The goat beer. Oh,
Greatest
God.
of all time.
You did, didn't you? Oh, wow. So congratulations. Everything was perfect. It was a cool wedding, and I'm sure that there will be some social media pictures posted, but I don't know if we'll post them on Packfiller or not. It doesn't have anything to do with cycling, but neither does this show.
The last 20 minutes.
Yeah, Sam, and I can't believe you freaking rode the next day.
Yeah, I had to. And I felt like, you guys, I danced so hard. I didn't leave the dance floor. And we have some really good video. And it's like, I look at myself and it's just this like exhausted like corpse at the end. Like, I refuse to sit down. And I am just like caving over.
You didn't get the...
No,
You didn't get the tap on the shoulder
no.
from the dance
I had
teacher?
my own bottle. Yeah.
And you're all done.
But like, yeah, it was killer. And then I was like, well, I got to go spin this off.
Yeah.
So David and I rode the next day.
I didn't ride.
I wish both of my wife and I wish we would have been able to make it to the dance, but I was struggling the whole day trying to stay awake. I
was a
didn't
long
get
day.
your afternoon nap, Gramps.
Yeah, well, I know. I'm at that age. But, I mean, remember, I kept saying, dude, we need to get some coffee in me.
I know.
And I had a Doppio, and it's just like, boom, it just went back down. And while I'm eating, I'm yawning. Renee's like, shut your mouth when you're chewing.
I'm so tired.
I don't know what was wrong with
I
me.
made it the whole night, and at the end of the night, I was carrying a whole bunch of stuff out of the wedding venue, and I apparently lost the ability to walk down 2 steps.
Well, if you were carrying him up to the parking lot, that's a lot of steps to get
No,
there.
I went through the building,
Okay.
and then I came down 2 steps, and I don't know if you can see the bruise anymore.
No.
The remainder of the bruise on my knee. Yeah, I landed on it.
Well, it's green now. I just
It is
saw
green. Yeah. It was. I wasn't. Well, it might have been. How are you guys feeling about our district championships this weekend? Who's feeling confident? Who's feeling oh shit? Who's feeling good? Who's feeling bad?
Well, it's not a district championship for him.
No, it's not. So, Sam, how are you just feeling about a regular old bike race this weekend?
Yeah, I'm, like, part of me is thinking,
Here he comes!
have I learned my lesson in talking shit before a race?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because, the number of people now that I've heard being like, because I'm the first one to roll up to a start line and be like, I'm going to destroy you and destroy you and destroy you.
Yeah.
So where I'm going with this is like, it'll be fun.
So you're still going to do it?
I'm still doing it 100%. I hope to God that there's neutral water and or Paul's out there giving me feeds because
I'll stick out.
yeah, I will die otherwise. Like there's going to be no way. And I think I can be a contender. Like I mean I've put in the miles like
I could have
been
Could have been somebody.
But it's like it'll be curious to see. I haven't really actually looked like what fields I'm racing against, but it's interesting because it's like, well, yeah, I do want to win whoever starts that race, but also on the same note, it's like there's like going to be a lot of like Cat 3s or something that are not in my category.
Yeah.
So like, do I follow their wheel?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to win the whole thing if you can.
That's why. I mean, that's why. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, well, even though you're not in my category, I'm kind of ready to die to beat all of you.
That's where it should be.
All right.
Such logical.
Yeah.
That's bike racing.
tactic.
That's bike racing.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So that's how I feel.
Paul?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, that's why I ride my bike.
Yeah.
And I would, I went out for a ride Sunday, and it was it Sunday? Oh, I can't remember. It was like
Grandpa.
100 yeah.
God.
Yeah, it was 105. Like that was a recording out on the road. I just rode an exposed area.
Yeah.
So, it was beaten heat, and I usually do really well. And I came back and I said to my wife, I said, I am getting older because I thrived on that, and I was struggling. I was really struggling to lay down the power, but I was tired that night before anyway. So when. God,
he's so old.
I am.
Stop it!
So
You're going to be this way someday too.
We're going to do a dementia
and I told
test
you,
on you.
I already
here
told
soon.
you,
Yeah.
this is a part of aging. I don't mind the memory thing. It's the skin thing. I have no
There we
epidural
go.
system. It's just a shroud. It just like drops
Just
this
hold-
flesh-looking thing, and it just kind of
How'd
hangs
that
off
get
my
down there?
bones.
It's
and-
like the nylon sacks they put behind their necks in the Tour de France.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
just a
yeah.
bag of ice barely
Yeah.
holding on.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, and for an example, I cut my thumb. I was sitting there working, installing a fixture. I was drilling out the mounting plate is a disc,
Yeah.
and I was drilling out for a hole, and it's the bit caught and went, and my paper thin skin just goes flop.
You're like,
And I think I severed my tendon in my thumb. I can't straighten it out.
Oh my
I can bend it down, but I can't straighten it out.
shut your beautiful mouth. Are
No,
you
it isn't.
kidding me
No,
right
that's
now?
just, I'm trying to pull it back. So that's getting old.
Okay, that's a problem.
No, it
We'll
isn't.
touch on that later.
Just in case we want to go back to bike racing.
Yeah.
It is a time trial and a road race on Saturday and a criterium on Sunday.
I'm excited for the crit.
The road race is the only district championships in the entire thing. So it's
For Masters.
for masters. Yeah, for masters. I'm going to confess openly right now.
You may not show up.
No, I have to show up to the crit for sure. I have to show up for the crit for sure. I'm announcing the crit.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been, if I announce the crit, they'll let me race my race if I want. And the time trial, we scouted out the time trial course, and there's no way I'm riding the time trial.
No way in hell.
The road race, the night before the road race, I am going to a concert with my wife because we had tickets for it last year, and it's her favorite band in the whole wide world. And so we're going to a concert that night, and I know it's going to be a lot of time on your feet and things like that. Am I looking for an excuse? Perchance, maybe.
But like the other reality is you just like close the blinds and sleep in till 10 because your race doesn't start till.
Well, that's
Noon
where
or
I wanted to
1.
come in, and not only I have to be there to see how Paul does because that's the ultimate thing.
Yikes, no pressure.
Yeah, and then you need fed.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently your wife doesn't give a flying
She's
shit
in
about
Canada
you.
doing some like marathon thing.
Don't most people
Some marathon thing.
don't most people who
Yeah,
say
this is how tied into each other's lives we are.
in high school when you were a really big dork and people don't have girlfriends, don't
Yeah.
they say that their girlfriends
they're
in
in
Canada?
Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just checking.
She's real.
Yeah. Okay. So if you do need fed, I'm more than willing to do that,
That would be awesome.
and that would probably take me out of the bike race.
So that's why he was volunteering for that. I see.
Well, I would because the more I'm thinking about it, my fitness is slowly starting to come back. But as I told you guys the other day, getting anything above 160 beats a minute, it's like my plateau. Even though
It's mine.
well, but I
But on 60.
usually have 10 to 15 more beats on top of that, and that's a good dose of power when you're losing that. So I think I just need more training.
You
to
could get
kind
some
of
good footage for
Yeah.
like feeds and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah, so
Kinda
I'll
cool.
probably just kind of go out and do that, and then put the crit and just see what happens. If I'm out there and if I got a big old
If you're out there feeding him
yeah
for, let's say, 88 miles, right?
yeah
So you're going to be out there for about 4 hours
yeah.
in 98-degree heat. I think that's worse off than standing on your feet.
This is
at a
true.
concert.
This is true, but the worst case scenario is I don't race the crit and I don't really care.
Gotcha.
So that's where I am.
Did David sign up for the crit?
He didn't. He hadn't signed up for anything yet. So there we go. Let's check in on a little. Oh, do I have it? I believe I do. Let's check in for a little trip around France, shall we?
That's so
There's
great.
a little gig going on around France. I forgot to do that last week. I forgot I downloaded that. Yeah, so little trip around Wine and Cheese Land, also known as the Tour de France. If you're listening to this podcast, pretty good chance you're up to speed on the results, so we don't necessarily need to delve too far into the news or the headlines. So let's open it up to discussion here and go straight to it. We are almost halfway, right? Would tomorrow be halfway?
12. So,
tomorrow
yeah.
be halfway. Yeah.
Yep.
So there we go. Talk to me about surprises. Anything that sticks out that you guys want to mention before I start asking my random questions that aren't random. Questions about the race. Anything that you guys think is just like, holy shit, big surprises that happen to have happened over the last
Jasper
11 stages.
Disaster.
Jasper the Master.
No, his Disaster was his
In
real
the
name.
Netflix series.
Because you always forgot.
I know.
Yeah,
I was just saying
Disaster.
they're calling him that.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, his dominance is like
4 stages.
yeah.
I'm actually curious, like touching on that, is that like Fabio was complaining and a couple other riders about his like swerving in the road and stuff, and I haven't looked back through the tapes, but it would be curious to look and see like how much he is like swinging across, because there was that one with Wout that I'm like, no, that was just the straight line.
Yeah.
Like, like the lead up to it and all the positioning, it's like Mathieu Van Der Poel like pushing who was it that he
Gamay.
pushed? Yeah, Gamay out of the way to get through there. It's like, why is that legal?
Are we at the point where it's just the drama's increasing? I mean, is this a
maybe.
point of the fact that the pressure is so high?
Yeah,
Especially if you got a Soudal Quick-Step kit on.
totally.
They're walking around with a big donut hole right now, and Soudal's like going,
Well, they
Jesus.
banked a lot on Fabio
Yeah.
Jakobsen, and that crash on that track sprint
It's
was
just
a
like there was
chaos.
butter all over the track apparently.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is like somebody pointed out, and I can't remember if it was Adam Blythe or somebody said, the problem is it was Mitch Docker. When you do it on a track, if it's on the road, you have a tendency the speeds are going up and everybody's kind of in the line. On a track, you have so much room. You have 6 across and people are trying to, move over, and that's where if you look, it's always right in the middle of a corner or coming out of a corner, and that's when those crashes were happening. So
Totally.
that's and we race
so
on the track,
bizarre.
and that's what we
Yeah.
even talked. Our
Talked like, how on God's green earth do we crash on this stuff?
yeah, and that's what happens.
That's what
If you
happened.
think about it, that's with Jackson. We're
Yeah, where it all
we're
condensed there.
Yeah, condensed and wide across the road. So
I will.
It's just blows me away that we're talking about the fact that crashes occurring because you have too much roadway. That's just lunacy.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
know, because like it's a funnel in a lot of those sprints, right? Like those guys are all in to try to get to the narrow part of the road
Yeah.
where it's like twisting and turning, and then there's only like 300 meters to all out sprint. But if you have that much wide track, you got everybody still jostling for the positions.
yeah, you can always come around the guy you're in front of, and then it just gets wider and wider, and they're coming around you, and then this guy wants to move over. It becomes chaos.
There are discussions about Fabio Jakobsen potentially not making it to Paris.
Yeah.
Like he's having that bad a time. Like today, he was completely out of commission. He was nowhere near the front. And if the writing's on the wall there, geez, think of what's being put in the lap of Julian Alaphilippe and like Kasper Asgreen. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Michael Morkov was going to have to become an attack specialist,
Or
right?
their
like
sprinter.
overnight. Or their sprinter. It's just unbelievable what they're going to have to do. So how about Cavendish's departure from almost to not at all? Obviously a heartbreaker for a lot of people rooting for Cav. I don't know about you guys. When he got that second, I was screaming at the TV. Yeah. And it sounded like it was a misshift of some sort.
Yeah, it
couldn't
was
get into his 11.
No, it popped in and then it popped back to the 12.
Yeah.
If you look at it like the straight on shot, you can see he makes a jump and his back wheel jumps up off the ground. He gets out of the saddle, he shifts, then he gets back down on the saddle, shifts on 11, jumps out of the saddle, and then it pops back. So he's up and out of the saddle. And that's when he was in the 11 and he's pulling away, and then it went back to the 12, and that's when Philipsen screamed by him. So it's one of those things like this knucklehead to my right here, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
His name's Sam.
I've never.
Yeah. We'll just have to remind him.
I've never seen so many mechanicals in the last couple of years. I have to question
what I was gonna say. Too.
This is like the world's best mechanics in the world.
Absolutely.
And they're having problems keeping chains on. These kind of
Today in the
electronic
break.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is chronic, and I have to wonder. We're going crazy with 12 speeds because the tolerance. All it takes is just like a millimeter, 2 millimeters off, and that thing's gonna go pew, shoot right off. So
when you're with these guys throwing down, 1,800 watts or something like that.
that millimeter
mid-shift.
Big.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm surprised by the amount of mechanicals, like chains dropping or, people like can't shift. And so they just like have to get out and just throw them a new bike. I mean, that happened today with like the RKS Samsic guy. And then, I think the other thing I'm surprised with is just Wout. Like Wout, it was like he was in a pretty good position and then he just got swallowed up today. It's like, he couldn't even sprint because he's just in the middle. You just see him kind of sit up. It's like,
do you think this is with Wout's situation? Is this a tactical decision by the team to kind of keep him under reins, or is he just not at the level he was last year?
Go ahead.
I think that he is at the same level. I just think that it's like he is doing major roles in some of the more all-arounder stages, or when he was way up the road and then had to go up mountains with climbers.
Sure.
Like I think like that is just taking it out of him. But yeah, I do think like he's not wanting to push it for some of those sprints. He doesn't really want to contest them because if he did crash out, like that would be a huge loss.
Yeah.
So it's almost like if he doesn't have a clear shot at it, he's not going to even go for it.
Exactly.
I'm not bashing Wout in this in any way, shape, or form. But
I love Wout.
I do too.
Wout for president.
I do too.
Yeah.
But
Wout for president.
But it's so funny that there was so much uproar in the Unchained series about his almost
Demeanor.
selfish-driven demeanor, and then you see things like yesterday where just out of nowhere he's in the break and then he get caught, and then he's in another little break with Mathieu van der Poel, which is kind of the most bizarre thing I've seen the entire tour so far. It's like, why are you guys trying to close a 2-minute gap? You're not going to be able to close a 2-minute gap. Mm-hmm. Anyway, all these things, and then he's just kind of, he's like your brother. He's like David. He's just going, well, I'm going to go here. Like somebody needs a leash to go, whoa, big fella.
Yeah.
Come on back. And so part of me, I don't think the Unchained documentary creators tried to make a villain out of Wout van Aert, but I think they are showing the fact that this guy is hard to rein in to an extent because he has such power, such strength, such
an engine.
Yeah, such an engine that he's just like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Let me off. I'll get it. I'll get him. Or something like that. He's like,
in the
like
video,
a pit bull.
Yeah, in the video, he talks about how much he loves to hurt.
Yeah,
It's like that's David.
Well, you have to think.
David's like, I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
He's like trying to pick up his arm for another swing, and it's like, no, you're done, child. Sit down.
Yeah.
Kind of like you're dancing the other night.
Yeah.
So
it's like they put a fitness challenge. I'm not leaving the fucking dance floor until you do.
That was us. Yeah.
Well, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving either. Wait, Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond. This song's really overused. Yeah. I'm staying.
Well, I think with what I wonder if he's free to fly if he gets in the break, so he tries.
Yeah.
And then same with your sprints, but you can't. I mean, he's shut down. I've seen him shut down 3 times now in the sprint. He's boxed in or it gets tight. He's not taking a chance, and he's got a baby on the way.
Yeah.
So he's not gonna.
And rumors were rampant that he was going to.
Yeah, he doesn't know where that
and he's
came
like,
from.
No. Yeah. Skimmels had to actually apologize to him, I guess, about the fact that
you heard what Rob said. Maybe he wants me out of the race or something. I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see. There's plenty of racing to. I mean, he could be a huge key factor in the next week and a half. So
the second half.
Speaking of rumors, there are rumors out there saying that a potential sale of Team Soudal Quickstep, and Patrick Lefevre is running around rampant, denying it, almost like he's an American, political personality. And he's denying it left and right, and rumors are simply just because he wants to keep Remco Evenepoel from being sold away. If the rumors are that the team's being sold, and so that's an interesting. I love the
I wonder
rest
what
of
they
rumors.
mean by that. I mean, he's the
Would Lefebvre have sold his own team? Is he the primary owner of the team? Would he have sold his own team? So I don't know. It's
he's the bank.
interesting.
He's got I don't really understand that, but maybe that's what it is. It's like there's somebody above him. But
Yeah.
as far as I know, he writes the checks.
Yeah.
So
Who's had a better season so far? Soudal Quickstep or Lotto?
Lotto.
Yeah.
And
You
they
think
just
so?
picked up another sponsor,
Really?
BMW.
Hello.
That's cool.
Wow.
But just for cars. So I don't know if they get any money.
Oh,
But that probably helps getting
Yeah.
around.
cut some costs.
Yeah.
The little Trek is it's growing on me.
You're liking the kit more, Lidl Trek?
I don't like it, kid.
I'm not hating it.
It's the colors. I don't mind the print. I mean the design, but I don't like those mash of colors.
Oh yeah, I mean, but I don't know. The other cool thing is, and this goes to Trek, is like all of the bikes are different. They're cool
Yeah.
paint schemes.
Yeah, whoever's in charge of the color, the paint,
Yeah.
should be rewarded for
Yes.
that company.
They
Always
are-
have.
I don't know.
Trek bikes have always looked pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
They've always looked pretty cool.
They're just very proprietary, and I would never want to own one. But sponsor me, Trek.
Yeah, yeah. How about the GC? Did anybody think it was over when Tadej lost time on that
No.
first big
Oh,
attack?
God, no.
Really?
No
Yeah.
way.
Part of
It's
me
way
was
too
like,
early.
shit.
He's
that's
still
it.
coming back. Like he's gonna peak
He's
final
still gonna
week.
win.
He's peaking final week.
think he's still
for
gonna-
Oh
sure.
yeah.
He's still building. The guy is like, I mean, yeah, Jonas is in for it.
Somebody pointed out in one of the thousands of cycling podcasts I listen to, but they're like the best team without a doubt in the tour is Jumbo-Visma. The best rider is without a doubt Tadej.
Tadej Pogacar.
But
Totally.
the thing is that's what the battle is between the best team against this unbelievable guy. And right now it's still level. And for somebody who's missing the bike, I saw a training video of him because he couldn't ride. He had a backpack with a couple of plates in it, running up like worse than the Perry Stairs. Just and that guy he's an amazing human being.
I was thinking recently because I watched the Team Sky thing on GCN and Super Teams.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to think about how like Chris Froome so villainized and a lot of, they took away the romance of cycling, right? They just really dialed in the potential. Like Chris Froome is an incredible athlete. I'm not denying that, but like Tadej would have smoked him.
Mm-hmm.
If Tadej was racing Chris
Yep.
Froome on Sky at the time, Tadej would have won.
See,
because
I'm
Tadej would have just
so
sat on
hesitant. I'm so hesitant to do that because the tactics of cycling have changed so much over every generation.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at would
agree, but
Eddie
look at-
beat Bernardino? Would
No.
Bernardino beat Miguel Indurain? Would Miguel Indurain beat Greg LeMond? Would Greg LeMond beat? Nobody would beat.
Eddie.
No. Who's Mr. 53%?
Bjarne Rees.
Bjarne Rees. Nobody
Yeah.
beat him.
Mr.
He's
60.
doped to the
Yeah.
gills. Yeah. But comparing and contrasting tactics and
But like
styles,
if you look at the speed that like they go at, it's like Ineos just can't keep up with it anymore. It's like they cannot set that level of a pace anymore.
but that's not the same team.
Well, here's the thing. Anytime somebody, even Jumbo-Visma, the first year that Tadej won, and the second year, they tried to do the Ineos, and they were blowing everybody out. There was only
But
one person.
Tadej was
Tadej
there.
was just like waiting
Yeah.
till it was down to
That's
mano a mano and says,
Yeah.
"See ya."
Yeah, Tadej, that pace works so well for him.
That's what he needs.
That's what he needs.
He's
That's why
so
I'm like-
explosive.
It's incredible. I'm just Tadej fanboy.
So what is the tactic for Jumbo and UAE over these next 13 days?
Jumbo get him isolated early in a stage.
Yeah.
Like blow out his teammates early in a stage
And
and,
they've
then
done
start.
that.
Yep.
And that was success.
And it was success.
Mm-hmm.
In UAE, I would say don't get your nose in the wind. Like let Jumbo do everything.
Yeah, the hardest part for them, the UAE, is when they were doing a protective role.
Yeah.
And that they just can't handle it.
No, they can't
they're
do
strong
that.
riders without a doubt, but I think Jumbo-Visma has it dialed in. But even that going up the Puy de Dôme,
Puy de Dôme. Yeah.
Going up that was just a brutal climb, and it was mano a mano, you know. So Tade just launched. I mean, that explosiveness, and that's not Vinigo's style. He has to ride.
We're potentially looking at the one time trial, 22K, with a 17-second gap between these top two riders.
It's gonna be
This time
bananas.
trial could have a huge implication upon the race.
Oh yeah.
I think it's because it's short enough. I think that we're only thinking. I'm only thinking a few seconds.
Yeah.
I think that like stage 15, 17, those with multiple climbs and stuff. That's where, you know, attrition comes into play, and that's where they have to grind him down. They have to grind. Jumbo-Visma has to grind down Tade like they did in stage 11 last year.
Mm-hmm. But as long as there's no mechanical or anything like that for either rider, because if something like that happens,
you're screwed.
You know that other rider. Like, yeah, I think that if it's a perfect day, the riders will be very close. But I think that if it is not a perfect day for one rider, they are going to hemorrhage time, and that would be the race.
And it almost seems like Jonas Vingegaard. I'm not going to say Vingegaard. I'm not from that country. I'm not going to adapt. I'm not going to say Tour de France, even though I do.
I say Tour de France.
I'm hypocritical across the board. I pick my names and I pick my things.
And you live in Spokane?
Spokane, Washington.
Washington.
Yeah, and I don't eat French fries. I eat freedom fries. So anyway, I don't know why I'm just like going, I'm sticking with Vingegaard. But that he peaked just about the tail end of the Dauphiné. And maybe there is a, hopefully not, downward slide approaching. You think Vingegaard? I'm going to just do it both ways. I'm going to just do it both ways.
Just see whatever feels good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think that,
yeah.
like I was saying earlier, I think that Tade is on the rise and Vingegaard is on the drop.
So you think he peaked early? And he's
I think that
we're speculating like crazy.
I think he is in his peak right now, and I think that Tade is just going to get faster over the next week.
Yeah. There was that one day though, and if Tade has another day like that one day where he lost a minute, it's taken him 5 stages to climb back from it.
And you think about it, that both times that he's lost last year and this year is when he got isolated early.
That was what I was saying.
That's where he gets into trouble. So.
And that was a day where UAE spent a lot of time on the front.
Yeah.
Don't get your nose in the front.
Yeah.
Like, if UAE can just sit back, then he's not going to be isolated and he'll be fine.
Okay, there we go. Any other riders that could surprise? For a while there, after our last show, we were like, "Oh, Jean could do something,"
and he did.
And then he did, but then he just exploded the next day. Pello Bilbao had a great stage today. No, yesterday.
So
climbed himself into the top 10. Yeah, fifth.
He's 5th or 4th.
Yeah. I asked this.
It's going to be a really good battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th.
So it's a
but 1st and 2nd
Tade Jonas show.
That's it.
100%.
But like I think that's I had somebody that came into the clinic today that is just a mountain bike rider, and they were saying how it is like crazy tactics going on. They're brand new to watching the tour, and they're like, there's all these little pieces working together. And this year in particular, like this year is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like you have so many races going on in one. I mean, Nielsen, right? Like I don't think that that's going to be an interesting, fought jersey as we get, into the Alps. I think that it's going to be hard for him to keep that. But then also, it's crazy how the green jersey's just gone. That's done. That race is over.
So was it last year too?
Yeah.
Wout.
Yeah.
By this time, Wout had it locked.
Yeah.
Here's a question I wanted to ask is in regards to the tour, like it seems like, yellow is always that is so calculated for 3 years in advance. But for the other ones, do you think that it's just like the first few stages and they're like, oh, I got a lot of these points. Let's see what happens. Or do you think Nielsen has been targeting the polka dots?
That's a great question.
The green jersey for sure, but I mean, I think even last year the green jersey for Wout was like he just kind of found himself in it, and he goes, "Oh, I guess I'll sprint for more of these points."
No, his intentions. He announced that he was going for the green jersey last year.
But
this
is
year
the
he
polka
says
dots
it's
just
not.
a random jersey?
I think a lot of them are hoping that because what happens is that towards the end of the tour, the thing is that a lot of those points are given over to the GC guys.
Yeah.
And so Simon Gishka last year lost the polka dot in the last day.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of them do hunt. I think you're going to see a lot more breakaways in the mountains coming up because we're going to hit some high point stuff.
Right.
And so, it depends on how the tactics are played with the GC guys.
Yeah.
Right.
They can just say, I don't care. They don't care about those points. But if it gets in the way of them attacking and setting up, strategy, then
I recall pretty well, back in the day when it really made a shift is when Laurent Jalabert, who was a sprinter, a classics rider, a sprinter, just 1 year decided to make these incredibly early, insane attacks and gain massive points. Laurent Jalabert, a sprinter, won the polka dot jersey.
Yeah, he changed his style.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
After his crash. And
Yeah. But
So
there's
here's-
also the style of the competition came from that too.
Yeah.
In terms of just how you can go out early like Nelson Palace is doing and try and achieve these early points, but then wow, that's loud. But then you also no, it's just
Athletic
we got hot mics all around the room. Yeah, it is Athletic Brewing. Nice one. I think that's button number.
Well, I have a well, you're right because you think about like Lucho Herrera. I mean, all these like Colombians and all these climbers that we knew climbers were all in the 80s and even in the 90s. Richard Virenque and those guys, they kind of dabbled close in the top 10, but they were really going for the polka dot. But I have a question.
Yes.
Has it always been a polka dot jersey for a climber?
Oh shit!
It
I'm
was
gonna say
stripes.
no simply because
I asked the
you're
question.
asking me a trick question.
1976.
Was it stripes?
I can't remember what the original was,
Really?
but polka dots came out in 1976, and if I remember, it's a candy bar that
Really?
sponsored it. It was polka dot, and it's stuck, and the candy bar doesn't have anything to do with it.
All I know is candy bar or not, but if they wear polka dot shorts, it really pisses me off.
Yeah.
It's better than the
really
red
good.
ones.
I'll take the red shorts.
Nah.
I'll
I would
the
take red.
shorts. Yeah. I was on a
good.
team
Just
once.
black.
I was
then
on a
there's no
team once with red shorts, and I'll tell you this: make sure you shake 2 or 3 times after urinating because it is a window to the world. After if those get just slightly damp, I'm just saying.
Nice visual. Thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Current Packfiller League standings.
Oh, I don't want to know.
I'm ahead of you.
I haven't even looked.
We're at the bottom, the three of us.
Of everybody, the only people I am beating are people who signed up but did not pick riders. I am that far into Shitsville. I am really
That's
not
bad.
doing well. And did we discuss a punishment?
No, we haven't determined that yet.
Okay, good.
So it doesn't exist.
I will take.
Well, look who's leading.
It's not over yet. Yeah,
He was in town.
Brent. Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
in town. And then, I got a text from him. So he was going to come back maybe August, September.
Is he rubbing it in?
No, he
Back
didn't
to
even mention it
discretion.
once.
Wow,
I thought I
that's-
was waiting for
Keeping
him
it
to like
professional.
rub it.
Mm.
Yeah.
I will say this: that the highest placed non-member of the show, I will send you a pair of Gooders. So I will do that because our friends at Gooders have offered to do that, and so
So
there
he
we go.
doesn't qualify. Brent doesn't because he's been on the show.
Yeah.
There we
no,
go.
You don't get it.
There we go. Sorry, Brent. Yeah. I have to say this is kind of a variance of the topic, and it's strictly oversight. And it's not very fair, but I haven't caught a single minute of the Giro Donna. I don't know if you guys have. The
Just
women's Tour of
highlights.
Italy.
Just
Highlights.
And
Is it streaming on GCN?
Yeah.
yeah, is it is it bad timing on the calendar? Or is it something else? The fact that how do you? It just makes me think like, hey, I've got this really cool movie coming out. I'm gonna put it up against a Marvel movie. It's not.
Yeah.
it's not fair. And I'm not saying anything to do with gender, with women's racing versus men's racing. It's not fair to put something up. It's I could pick any type of analogy. Trying to put a kid's baseball game against the major leagues. It's just I'm not saying that one's. I'm trying to apologize because I don't want people to yell at me, but this is one of the coolest women's races on the calendar, but you're putting it up against the Super Bowl of cycling, and it's oh God, I wish they would have planned them at different times.
And I think if I remember correctly too, it almost didn't even come to fruition.
Really?
This year. Yeah, they were having sponsors problems.
Oh shit, and this won't help.
Yeah,
Come on.
And then I think some people even dropped out, get ready for the Femme.
Really? Yeah, because it's so close to that. Yeah.
Avec
Zwift. Yeah.
I think it's unfortunate, but that they've always been kind of on that part of the calendar. So yeah, and on a personal level, I have it on, but I have not really been too in tune to the tour this year like I have in the past.
Really?
Yeah, for some reason. I think I've got a lot on the personal level, on the plate. And then, so I think that happens.
The tour?
I am following it, but not like I used to, like, get up. You can ask my wife, like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'd just be watching the whole thing. But now it's on in the background, and I just kind of look at the TV now and then.
Wow.
Well, that's
but I do, once it gets down
opposite.
To the last 20K, then I pay attention. But I used to watch the whole bloody thing.
I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm actually getting up to make sure I'm watching the live feed. I'm getting up at like 6:30 to catch it. And what I'll usually do is I'll rewind just a little bit, and then I'll find it's like, okay, the break's out there, everything's going on, and I'll kind of zap it forward about 10 minutes, and I'll usually catch up to it live at the finish. So I'm ruining your mojo, Paul. It's
Bizarro World.
It is
just
Bizarre World.
flip-flop.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Okay. Because my wife and I always joke about that. We're like going, one of us decides to work out and the other one quits.
Is it just me, or should like the sprint stages be 60 miles?
That kind of defeats the whole purpose of.
Well, you know what they
Does
do
it
those.
though? Like, I mean,
Nutrition.
it could be really fast. 60
Just crits.
miles.
Well, it's when you design that, a lot of people, I think maybe some people understand, but those are basically transfer stages.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right,
they can't,
right.
instead of cramming them on a bus and get them to the next stage, but that's what they're doing. They're trying to get that pan flat so no one's,
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what they're trying to accomplish.
It's just boring.
Final podium in Paris. I've asked you guys this every show. I want to see if it's changed. In order, final podium. For top 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Tade, Vendigo, and Hindley.
Okay. Sticking with where it is now.
That's where I put it
Yeah.
before.
Sam?
Tade, Jonas, and I kind of think Bilbao.
Well,
Okay.
I think he'll make his way up.
my heart says Roman Bardet for third.
I really wanted Ben O'Connor. I really did.
He made some time up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did. I'm gonna go. I'm still gonna pick Tade to win it. Also, I think he's just barnstorming right now. Unless the team does something brilliant, I wouldn't mind if Jonas won the whole thing,
totally.
because I think I'd be super
Both
happy
are
with
great
the guy.
winners.
Yeah, yeah. And for all these ex-pros, by the way, who are sitting back and making all these comments, there have been a couple who've been, why do ex-pros not learn to shut the fuck up sometimes?
There's one in particular. who drives me
Yeah, there's
insane.
one. Yeah, there's Tom Dumoulin said something today too, and it's just like going. I guess it's because people are asking him the question, but
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just got to keep it a little bit more professional and maybe to not be such a douche. Yeah, Hi,
Man,
Andy.
Yenzi on the.
He, you know what? I have
Lord,
a hard
give
time
me
with
strength.
I have a hard time with Yenzi, but I realize how much he actually is enthusiastic
Yeah,
about
he's
it.
very passionate.
he
Yeah.
is so passionate. He's just such a goofball.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, but
I want to
guess-
love you. You're just so
I like
weird.
I like Phil Gill.
Yeah, I
I
think
thought he was
he's
good.
great on the back of the bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. Let's jump to tonight's topic, brought to us by our friends at Scratch Labs, shall we? Source for clean fuel on your ride, high carb, mix, hydration mixes, recovery mixes, gels, and great recipe ideas for their famous rice bars. Check out the link at packfiller.com. I want to talk about dealing with a monster. You guys don't even know what the topic is tonight, but
I ain't afraid.
What?
I ain't afraid.
You ain't afraid? Bring it. Shopping for cycling and not going online. I've obviously been doing some research and things like that these days, and I was just realizing that, and we might have touched base on this for a while, a couple shows, but I just love getting a perspective on it in terms of where this industry is going. Let's say each of us are looking for a new bike. All right. No budget restrictions. Where would you start if you had to look for a bike? If you were interested in trying to shop for a bike, would you immediately hop in the car and go to the LBS, or would you sit down, grab your phone, and start looking at brands and bells and whistles?
Am I me?
You're you. You are you. 100% you.
And I have an infinite amount of money.
Yeah, you're there.
Yeah.
You're real.
Well, I didn't know this was like a new person getting a bike.
Nope, this is you.
Okay, so if I can just throw money away, then I know what bike I'm going to get.
You do.
Probably. I mean, I'm going to get a Cervelo, or I'm going to get a Specialized, or I'm going to get like some top tier, race bike like that.
Yeah.
And I'll go to the bike shop and just say this.
Okay.
Exactly.
So
I'm not going to do I know what I want. Like,
really?
I would go through the bike shop because I'd want them to get the money.
Okay.
Very pro, like, support local bike shop, but I'm not going to at all be talking to them about what I want.
Yeah.
And what they think I should get.
You say this model, this make, how long does it take to get here?
Yep. I would order all the parts, and I'm like, just give it to me in the box. Don't touch it.
Really?
Oh, don't touch my bike. I'm going to tear it down anyway. I'll save you the trouble.
Yeah.
So
I got mine and the stem was upside down. It was pointing up.
no,
I remember that, and I was like, I could hear the bike screaming from across the room. Help me! It was Brundlefly. It was not happy, man. I was like, going, okay, thanks. Can I take it home now? Well, we should fit you up to it. I'm like, no, I'm good.
No,
I can
please
fit
don't
myself up
touch
to
this.
it. I gotta go save this bike. You're choking it.
Yeah. You're choking it out.
Yeah.
Let it live. Yeah, no, I'm
upside down.
Like I've done that
Upward
before,
angle.
because I've bought a few bikes, in the last couple of years, and it's always like, don't just
give it to me.
I will buy this from you, but I don't want you to touch it.
Yeah, you're.
But I'm super particular about all my stuff. It has nothing to do with slamming. Like, if you're
no.
Yeah, if you're don't know like much about bikes, 100% have them build your bike.
Yeah,
like I'm going to tear it down to the bearings anyway.
But you, to go back to the initial concept, you already know enough about it from industry and online research.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you want.
Yeah.
So you're going to go straight to the dealer instead of trying to find the best magical deal online.
No, because I have infinite money.
Okay. Oh, because you have infinite money. Let's say you didn't. Anyway, Paul.
Pretty much the same. I know, being in the bike industry, you've seen it all. I know what size bike, shorter top tubes work better for me.
Yeah.
All these different reaches and stuff. I already know the numbers, and then it boils down to what manufacturer do I prefer based on my experiences with different companies too that are reliable, through the years that I've seen. So, and I'm like Sam. I bought a Cervelo from a local shop here. Great shop too, Fitness Fanatics. And this is back in 09, 08 or 09. And I said, I'll build it up. And they said, no, for warranty purposes, we have to put it together, because if you screw it up,
Really?
Yeah. So, and I understood that. That's fine.
Yeah,
but what
that
did I
makes
do when
sense.
I got home? I just stripped it all the way down and brought it back up.
Yeah.
Shortened the cables, they have these big, huge loops and stuff. But, which is fine. And until my old boss got BMC, and that's how I came across it, and I ordered it through him. And he just said, well, I'm not going to bother you. Just gave me it in a box.
Yeah.
Because he knew what I was going to do. So, and that's how no one touches my bike. If they do, then I take it down and rebuild it again. So,
I am at. It's interesting. I'm kind of at an in between ground of you guys. I would probably spend a good amount of time. especially when it comes to researching a bike, I'm going to look more into measurements, into the actual length, especially like you said, top tube length. I'm going to look into those types of things. Other than that, I'm not going to lie. I mean, it seems like a lot of companies, you almost want to just look into not service issues, but warranty issues, because carbon fiber is at the point now where there are so many quality manufacturers, and let's be honest, a lot of them are probably getting the same bikes from the same manufacturers, and they're just making it a nice different color. And so I would probably spend a little time online first, and then, I think Canyon changed the game in a good amount of deal with this direct-to-consumer concept, and it made a lot of people think that they don't need the bike shop anymore, and that's a scary thing. How do you guys get past the fact that there are online deals that are better than local shops? I mean, do you just suck it up? And even now, let's think realistically on our own budgets and our own personal finances. How do you justify walking into a shop? Yes, we know the people who own the shop, and we want to stay loyal to shops, and we preach that on this podcast. But it's also hard sometimes when you're looking like a $300, $400, $500 difference.
Yeah, I mean, I can very strongly answer this with, I will very likely, unless I get some crazy deal, buy whatever I need online, because I don't need their knowledge and expertise, right?
Okay.
Like, because I'm choosing that on my own. Whereas, like, if you're going to go into a shop, you're paying more because with that price tag, you're getting all of their knowledge and guidance, right? And that is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, well, if I buy a bike, and it's 20% more or whatever than a Canyon or something that I could find online, it's like, for me, I'm going to be doing my own maintenance. I'm going to be doing all my other. Why would I pay the extra money for the name that's stamped on the side of these carbon fiber bikes, right? Yeah. Like, it just depends. For me, that's what I've wound up at, is like, I always tell everybody, go local bike shop because they have your knowledge and that's what you're paying for, and it is worth that. But for me personally, yeah, I'm going to buy my stuff, at the cheaper cost because I'm doing my own research and I'm doing my own maintenance.
Yeah. Paul?
Yeah. I would still go local bike shop only because I've worked in the business for a while.
Yeah.
I'd like to see those guys. And again, by the time I'm going to purchase a bike, I know which one it is, and I'm going to that bike shop. And I'm not going to say, hey, I can get this cheaper. And I'm still the guy who will buy a frame. I still have the parts, you know what I mean? Or like you said, part it out. I probably would say, hey, I know the bike comes with this, but I do not like stock bikes now. I do not like the way they're set up with
Really?
gear-wise. Yeah. And there's so much, stems are too short. By the time you look at it, I was, raised in custom. You go spend top dollar back then, you got exactly what you needed. You didn't have like sacrifice. So,
or you didn't have half a bike in a box next to you.
Yeah.
From swapping out so many parts.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, everybody has their preference, So saddles, throw them out. I've got my preference. Bar width, I've got my preference. They're not, everything's narrow now.
Yeah.
I could probably go that way and learn that way, but I'm old.
Well, I changed.
I like the way I am.
In the old days.
Yeah, dang it.
Now, how do you guys? Let's say you were planning on buying a new bike brand. How do you deal with the fact that shops usually aren't going to have that high end of that bike on hand for you to go out and to give it a test ride?
I don't need a test
Don't
ride.
need a test
You don't
ride.
need a test ride.
Nope.
You completely put trust in the top two, all the measurements of the bike, and you just like, I'm good.
I'm
Even
a
if it's a
bike
brand
fitter.
you haven't ridden. Even if it's a brand you haven't ridden.
Yeah.
I'm a bike fitter.
Really?
I can make it work.
For example, my bike, when I got it the first time, I had never ridden an integrated seat post like that. And it was
The giant.
I would have never bought it because of that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I love it now. But when I first got on, it was
too
like,
stiff.
holy shit. Yeah, it scared me at
too
first. I'm not
stiff.
going to lie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bone shaker, but I love it now.
Right.
But I never got a chance to pre-ride that. I just ordered it. It showed up, and I went, whoa. I can never sell the thing again.
Yeah, you and I are very similar in that. Like
It's because we've been in the business.
Yeah, I know,
You
'cause
just
we've been in the
trust. You
business.
just trust.
Well, yeah, and it's just that I know what I want. Like, I wouldn't buy that integrated, either, because, like, oh shit, you break that, you need a new frame. You know, it's like you have to cut part of the frame off to lower the seat lower. It's like, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense to me. So it's like, for me, I'd order something that's simple. It's like, I don't even know what I'm going to get for my next road bike, but I'm going to do a ton of research on it before.
Okay.
Because I'm going to have to go integrated stuff.
Yeah. So you just trust the bike brands in the idea that they're going to be a good ride. You just go with it.
All $3,000 and above carbon fiber bikes are incredible.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Then you look at the angles, like this manufacturer you popped up.
Yeah.
The first thing I did is went to the measurements. I didn't do anything else because that's going to determine your ride.
Yeah.
The carbon layup, you can do your research on what they're going to focus on.
And it's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, some people just like, I got to have it stiff bike. Well, I like stiff bikes, but to be honest with you, I'm not gonna laterally move anything nowadays. So compliance is really, really important, and so that's why I'm leaning. And I know what manufacturers have that, and so I think knowledge is very important.
Do bike brands, in your opinion, have a responsibility in restricting online sales to help local bike shops and area bike shops stay alive?
So I was at the tail end of this. You weren't even, God, you were dusty in a corner by the time.
Holy crap, you're harsh with the old jokes
I
tonight.
know, it feels right. I don't know.
It just feels
Doesn't
good.
hurt.
It feels good. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I don't have skin anymore. It's a shroud.
Nothing to bounce off of.
Yeah.
So, I will say that I think that every bike business, if you are okay selling a bike to a bike shop for, let's just say $3,000 for a $6,000 bike, let's just make math easy, then if I'm in Spokane and I buy your bike online, that should be always every bike company shipped to whatever your local dealer is, and
And there have been
then
several
the
who've
bike
done
shop
that.
should get. There have been several that have done that, but there are a lot that don't.
Yeah, and even in the dusty days, when the dinosaurs and we just invented bikes and we did that,
Yeah.
manufacturers
Stone wheels.
have.
Rode a Stegosaurus.
You had to, if you're going to put a bike on sale, you had to get clearance from that manufacturer, because especially if there's another one in town.
Yeah.
If you're at a competitor bike shop that's selling the same brand, you just don't get to do that.
Totally.
There's some people that do now that you can always under the table you can't advertise it, but it's like, hey, listen, I can give you a deal if you do blah blah blah, or you throw in like, I'll change out your saddle, I'll do this for free,
Right.
So there's ways around to sweeten the deal, but getting back to Canyon, I don't know if I could pull that trigger as good as I think those bikes are. That's
really
just, there's something about it, maybe because I'm from a bike shop, I just don't think it's right.
I am thoroughly impressed with the quality that I see in Canyon, but there are several flaws in which the fully integrated, if anyone at this table were to buy a bike, like, it's going to come with an integrated bar stem at what we're going to get, the level that we're going to get. And the number of those that I've had to swap out as a fitter is astronomical. And then on top of that, it is an 1.25 inch steer tube, and that stem is a weird stem. So it's a proprietary stem that you'd have to get, even if you want to go
For Canyon.
Mm-hmm. But you can buy an 1.25 inch stem through like FSA and stuff like that, but they don't make it in all sizes.
And we're dealing with that with Jackson right now. I mean, one crash and a crit, and it's a freaking
The bike's
nightmare.
been down for a month, over a month.
Yeah.
2 months almost.
Yeah. And it's such a headache.
But-
I know it looks clean, and I know it's beautiful, and I know it's there are no cables to be seen, but holy shit, it's not doing good when it's hanging on the wall of your dentist's office.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the frustration of the industry for me. It's because it's about the sell, and so that's the
And it's
chase
not
of
the
the
flash
speed
and the cool.
and not making mechanical and going, oh, we got a 12-speed this year. Well, everything is, well, screw that.
Yeah.
And even when I bought my BMC, and that was in 2012, BMC spec'd it out with 10 SRAM Red 10.
Yeah.
And they came out like March of that year with their 11 speeds that you could buy. And I almost didn't get my BMC because BMC was going to ship all SRAM stuff. They were so pissed because their bikes are dated.
Yeah.
Why would anybody buy a 10 speed, when you can get 11 speed?
Yeah.
And that's the way the industry plays. It's just one up the next guy. And it's people who want to race, like Jackson and me and you guys. It's like, what a hassle just because they're trying to one up each other and then price their bikes at $15,000.
Yeah.
God, you used to be able to just like interchange so many different things.
Exactly.
And you just can't do it anymore. And that is, like, I was talking to Paul at the wedding, like, God, I
we were
really
talking
do
about
feel like
bikes at
there's
the wedding.
What?
I really do feel like there's a market out there for making something simpler, right? Like it's just like Apple's whole model is just like making a bike that you can have a basic carbon frame. You can upgrade the wheels. You can upgrade the handlebars. You can upgrade the crank. Like you can do all these individual pieces as I did when I was starting out. Heck, I just did. I just bought new FSA bars.
Yeah.
You know?
So let's go to the bike shop. What do they need to do? We're seeing bike shops having to reinvent how they do their business. I mean, and it's above and beyond. It's not just open to close anymore. They're almost creating mini communities along the line. Group rides, social media accounts, heck, even podcasts. I mean, there are some cycling shops who have podcasts, and they're having to do all this above and beyond. First of all, is that now the expectation? Can you not just open a shop, turn on the lights, hang an open sign, and do quality service and repairs?
God, you should be able to. I think about a local shop that has to deal with this local rider, and I'm leaving both of them anonymous because this, the shit that this local shop has to put up with.
Is he a dentist?
No, he's not, but he's in the same category.
He's a lawyer.
Yeah, I'm not going to say whether he's...
It's one of those. It's one of those advanced degree jobs where they
be.
think the world owes them everything.
Yep.
Right? Yep.
And so
they did pay $15,000 for the bike.
Right, I know. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, man, I feel bad for the bike shops with how
Are they
hard
training
have
for
to
an
work.
Ironman?
How,
Sorry,
how
continue.
much they have to put up with, for like a simple, bike shops don't make that much money. And that's what people just have this misconception of, is that like a bike shop, there's a $8,000 bike. Oh my God, they must be making at least $4,000 on this. I'm like,
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Be lucky to make two out
Two.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so it's just one of those things, and they have to buy the inventory and all this other stuff. So I
Have
don't
to pay
know,
their workers, have to keep the lights on, have to pay
Yes.
the internet bill, have to do all this kind of shit.
The free service
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
given afterwards. And
Right.
then
And
that
it's just
hour
like-
spent on this
Yeah.
person.
it's one of those pieces where personally, man, the bike shop has to work so hard these days to, be able to even stay alive.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I think they have it way harder than it needs to be.
Well, I think their model has to change. I think with proprietary type of equipment, not knowing how to change out a stem. I mean, it'd be pretty easy for somebody with mechanical ability, especially with the way the stems are now. There's 4 bolts on the handlebars, and then you take off the 2 on the back and just the headset, which is very easy nowadays. Not like back in our days
When we had
and
2
stuff.
wrenches.
Yeah,
exactly.
yes, yeah. So, I think that and disc brakes too is things are and electronic shifting add a lot to the average Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So the bike shop can capitalize on that repair.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they're going to survive. You cannot. I don't know how anybody can inventory even like second tier road bikes or even mountain bikes, upper end mountain bikes. How do you
That
inventory
much money
stuff?
on the floor
Yeah.
has got to be insane.
You are rolling some dice because it's just bloody expensive.
Yeah.
And who knows if that's what's going to take.
Yeah.
You might roll out a ton of them, but God, if I was a bike shop owner, I would be sticking at that $600 to $800 price range for
and if
almost all of my
somebody
bikes.
wants a $15,000 bike and they walk in and you've got one on the floor, they're gonna go, "That's great," but the website has it in 4 more colors.
Yeah.
I want the blue one.
Yeah.
Also, there's dust on that.
Yeah,
So how about $2,000 off?
yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God! And so
Cyclists are the worst.
they are.
God.
Well, I can think of a group that's worse.
Us?
Well, triathletes are pretty bad.
Oh, yeah, no,
Mountain bike
triathletes.
downhillers are pretty bad.
Yeah, totally.
I'm sure they just
Yeah.
bro.
I think people in
roadie.
general are
People
pretty bad.
actually people suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
let's how do you save the mom and pop shop, the local bike shop? Is it now to the point where it is this all encompassing entertainment center, and maybe how do you keep getting, and how do you deal with somebody who says, hey man, I really like that $15,000 bike, it's really great, I love it, I got it, I like the feel of it, the fit of it, and then next week they show up at your shop wanting you to repair the Canyon they just bought? Do you just swallow your pride and
Yep,
say,
and
okay,
your
I'll
money's-
fix it?
Your
Yeah.
money's in
Or you
repair.
look them in the eye with
Yep.
both fingers in their face and go, fuck you.
man, I just say, well, normally people that buy the bikes from here will get this deal, but guess who's paying full price?
Yeah.
Like if and that's why, like, I never owned my own bike shop, but for me personally, like, you can't fight the fact that Canyon does exist and all these others, right? Like, you're just
Sure.
going to drive that business away. Instead, be like, I would love to fix your bike.
Yeah.
Like, this is what needs to happen to it. It's going to cost you $250
Yeah.
or more, whatever it is, right? But I'm not cutting them breaks if it's not a bike that came from my shop. And that's just, doesn't matter if it was an online brand or if it was something else.
Yeah.
So the bike shop that I worked at, there was a couple of. He had one exclusive, custom Davidson out of Seattle.
Yeah.
Elliott Bay Cycles, and we're the only ones in Spokane that had him. And he used to sell 35, 45 a year on custom bikes.
There's one in the other room.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a bike from that shop you used to work for.
Yeah.
Custom
And the thing is the other ones, like, I'm going to drop him. Specialized was hard for us because somebody, you could sell this person all you want, and then somebody gets a deal. They knew the rep or somebody over Seattle. They got $300, and then when they have it, it's not running well. And so what do? They came to our bike shop to fix, and it's like, are you kidding me? But then again, the joke's on them because we're the ones that are going to fix it and we're going to get the money. We had to look at it that way. Yeah, we had a Specialized and we're still sitting on that inventory, but you can't burn that bridge. You want that person to come back because you've earned that trust and repair. And that's where bike shops have to be. Unfortunately,
So your bread and butter is going to be through repairs and the $700-800 maximum price bikes. Is what you're saying?
yeah, I don't
Unless
even
they're
like
going to
that
REI or they're
because
going
you
to-
don't. The margins are
I mean, I
still
wouldn't-
low.
yeah,
you have to
I-
sell thousands of those to really make any money.
I would be a closet shop that does like boutique stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like if I were to ever be in the industry, like I would be doing just like, hey, what do you want? And then I would build it, and you're going to make your margins are not much on that, but it's a passion thing. And, it's another piece where like, you're not having the risk to reward. For me, I'd way rather have low risk, low reward than, like stocking stuff and making a little bit more.
Yeah. Speaking of which, when was the last time you walked into a bike shop and bought a helmet, clothing, a computer, components, anything
stuff
like
I
that?
don't.
2 weeks ago.
You did?
Yeah.
Like what?
I bought my wife a Specialized helmet. I bought myself a helmet, myself shoes. That was like probably 2 months ago. And then, I've bought a couple other things recently.
Wow.
I've had a lot of stuff from the local shop. But once again, it's the thing of like, this is what I need.
Yeah. So
Ordered
you know
it.
exactly what you're going. So you had to order it in advance. It
They-
wasn't sitting
Yeah,
in
and it's
in-house.
and I don't expect for it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. Is you go into the bike shop and you're almost just adding one more step in the process as
Totally.
opposed to grabbing your phone and going,
Absolutely. But like once again, like I
Helmet.
want that bike shop like puts on events locally. Right?
Absolutely.
They sponsor different events. They are there for being mechanics. They've even, saved me 2 times that I
Yeah.
can think of. So it's like one of those things where, man, I will always give them my money.
Yeah, and I think of the times that I would go out to these shops that host rides, starting from their location, where you go out there and you're hanging out before the ride starts, and you keep looking at that bike hanging on the wall, and eventually you're just going to say, hey, can you order me one of those? That's how I got my bomb track from Mojo. I bought it because we were getting Jackson's bike dialed in, and they were like, Pat, have you seen this? And I'm like, holy shit. And so I sold
I'll
a car.
take that. Yeah. Yeah.
I sold a car and bought
Yeah.
a bike.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
But, you know, that's the social dynamic of it is such an important part of it, you know. So I don't know. I guess that's it. Speaking of services you can't find anywhere else, let's take a moment and check in with Sam for quick tips with Bike Fit Sam, brought to us by AmbassadorCycling.com. Get over there. Get fit to get fit, you guys. It's very important. And I was talking to somebody today about the insane importance of having a proper fit, and we've been talking about it a lot. But I'm getting it from industry people now. So
Yeah.
there you go. Congratulations, job security.
Thank you. It's been fun. It's been fun to see this thing grow too. But I had somebody come in and saying like, yeah, I heard about you on Reddit. And I'm like, what is Reddit?
They read it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Anyway, my fit tip would be, and I kind of covered on this. I actually did a fit earlier this week on a bike that it was a refit, and I did an original fit on this guy like let's say a month ago ish. Still having some issues, and comes back and we make a few small tweaks, but then it's like, actually, you need to do a lot of stretching. Like this guy was, just so tight that he couldn't go down. Because like if you stopped him stationary on the different positions, it all looks great, right? But then you get him moving dynamically, and it's like, what is happening here?
Worse than me?
You're pretty bad.
Just my shoulders.
Yeah, just your shoulders.
Yeah.
You're just glued like this.
I am. I'm like Larry King.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like someday you expect the suspenders to just pull both shoulders together in the front. Just like, slap.
But I will say, like, if people want a simple, like, hip stretching routine, we can make a video on that. Like, let me know what it is that you guys want. If you want, a simple, like, what I do when I get off the bike, when I get home, what I gave this guy, I can give you guys some simple, like, hip flexor, hamstring, all those
Holy
simple, like, 3-4 stretches, and you're gold. Should take 10 minutes.
Wow.
We can put together a little video.
I know a guy with
Do
a
one of my
camera.
little hep sheets, home exercise programs.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
So,
that
like,
opens
bike
up
fit,
a whole
but
thing.
I mean, like, that's
We
how
should-
bike fit, like, we talk about all these other things, right? Like,
Yeah.
when people come in for bike fit, they think that I just do this little piece, and a lot of it is I take the PT background. I mean, I have a lot of experience in nutrition, coaching, all of that. So, yeah.
Should we shoot this after we do the beer mile?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Drunk in a Borat swimsuit.
Yes. Yes.
When you're
Borat.
doing, when you're doing hip stretches,
Yep.
just with the camera straight
Yep.
on the
One
front,
of them
you're
you're
sitting
bent
on the
over.
ground.
Hey, old man, you're falling out.
First, we
Tuck that baby in.
We take the left leg.
Looks like a turkey gobbler. Put it back in there.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, good times.
All right. Before we finish the show, we're going to end up with our final question, the final K. What is the best cycling advice for a brand new married man you could give? Hi, Jackson. We're going to give Jackson cycling while married advice. Just a quick thing. Let's say you're holding the microphone at the wedding, but it has to be cycling specific advice that you have to give a brand new newlywed. What would it be? I don't care whoever goes first.
I would say that, bike rides with the wife are the best bike rides ever.
That's a good one.
Always. I
that's
went
good.
for a
Unless
ride.
You
you're
don't
Paul's
know my
wife.
wife. No, sir.
Hey, you could find a style of bike riding that's better.
Nope.
Yeah,
Well, we do.
She has the
She's
It's
got a
cruiser.
cruise
cruiser.
around
She has the
town.
cruiser.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
We don't go
whatever
long
Kenzie wants to
distance.
do. If Kenzie wants to ride, we're going to go do that.
Yeah.
We
And
just
it's the
go
best.
down the block to a brewery
Yeah.
or a winery.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's the best type of riding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I would say
that's good.
once you get married, your priority becomes the relationship. Being that I had a practice wife, I
Yeah.
found this out.
Yeah.
I found out, and I even kind of fell back a few times, even in my current wife's situation.
Really?
Yeah, where it's just like you get so focused, and I made a statement.
Is that why my basement is full of wheels?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
that's not it. No, it's just priorities when like time taking it away, and I'm, as we know, very elderly, and so it's important to put things in perspective. I'm not gonna go win tons of races. I don't have any. I want to race, and I have to be selective. I can't go out and race every weekend.
Yeah,
When you
yeah.
brought up if there was if a 2-hour drive away, would you race every weekend? I had to balk a little bit because that wouldn't be realistic.
Right.
Being married,
And
you
that's
can't
where
do
I'm
that.
at.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way that and it has nothing to do with, we've all talked about this. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the fact that it's like, I'm going to be guilt tripped or anything like that. It's like, simply, I wouldn't want her to be gone every weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, like those weekends, I'm like, oh, cool. What do I do?
Yeah.
It goes both ways, right?
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things that, like, there's a mutual respect for it. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying, like, the times in which I will ditch and be like, sorry, guys, not available for a ride. It's because I'm going out for a ride with her.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 best rides.
And the thing is your wife will let you know if
Yep.
you're crossing that line.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
And you know what?
God.
She's right.
Yeah.
Like, the
Yeah,
reality
it's
is
like,
she's right.
yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
like, if
It's
you
not
trust
worth it.
somebody enough that you're going to marry them, you should trust them to be like, hey,
Reel it in.
reel it in.
Yeah, reel it in.
Yeah. And it's the disappearing, on important times and stuff like that. For example, my wife went to North Idaho, and tomorrow's my birthday.
Are you alone?
Right now. Yeah.
No Bender.
Tomorrow?
Did she take Bender?
She took Bender. She took my dog.
When's she
Yeah,
back?
She left. She's coming tomorrow.
Oh,
coming.
get out of here. God,
know.
get out of here.
I had to
Whoa, is Pat.
alone. Actually, you know what? I might just, I probably would have kicked back, gone for a bike ride, watched movies, stuff like that.
Had a
Stick your
day.
hand down your pants.
Yeah.
Another pizza.
Hello, Domino's. Yeah. No,
You know my address.
My advice for a married guy is simple. Always add at least 10 to 15% to the ride time that you think you're going to be gone. Just because you never know. I think there's a short video out there when she says, you said you're going to be gone for an hour. Yeah, but I had to ride to the coffee shop. I had to wait for the guys. I had to have coffee. Then
You
I did
flatted.
the hour ride. There was a flat in the middle, and then we stopped for coffee or a beer afterwards. So, yeah, I was only riding for an hour.
It was 3.
Yeah, it was 3.
Yeah.
That's that first one, and then the second one, and this is coming from somebody who has a severe problem with it. Make sure they're tolerant of all the shit that you own from being a cyclist. I have too much, and my wife is very patient. Fortunately, we have a full basement in our house, and she doesn't come down here unless to do laundry.
I have bought new bars. I have bought a new computer. I have bought a new helmet. All in the last, however much. And she just kind of like, I love you.
Yeah.
I love you too.
Yeah.
I love you so much. You're so perfect.
Thank you for just
Wait until you buy one more thing, and then it's like
and then it's
crickets.
yeah.
You're in trouble.
Oh, I'm on that line. I'm not buying another thing. I already got the
But I'm
Okay.
going to do a time trial, so I need the time trial bike, honey. Yeah, no, that shit ain't gonna
you're
work by the
crossing the
bars.
line
Yeah,
there,
there we
bud.
go. Hey, everybody, subscribe, rate us on iTunes, join our YouTube channel, and be sure to check packfiller.com as we are planning and building. I've got so many build the empire ideas that are rattling around in my brain that hopefully I'm just going to put into action here very shortly, and I'd love to have everybody along for the ride. So, Sam and Paul, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Pat.
That was
Yeah.
a great time.
Yeah.
Jackson
As always.
is on his honeymoon, and
David's
Where-
out
where
on
is he at?
vacation. So.
he is in Santiago, which
That's
stands
right,
for
that's
a
why.
whale's vagina. Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
He's staring
No,
at
it
the beach.
doesn't.
No, I don't think he does. Well, agree to disagree.
Yeah.
They'll both be back next week, though.
They
right?
will both be back next week. So yeah,
Nice.
we can call Jackson Mister and watch him play around with his finger.
Mm-hmm.
That wedding ring shuffle. That like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do with this thing in my hand. And then we can watch David talk too quietly.
Well, he's been pretty good lately.
He has been good. Somebody started busting his balls, so he didn't take our advice. Now, if we could just get Sam to put his headphones down without causing a major eruption of some sort. Yeah, exactly. I don't get beer. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh.
There it is. No,